12 lap differential between each pit stop, which is really what they've been doing through the whole race. The Peugeots, on the other hand, the number one car in particular, has generally been getting 13 laps per stint. So
clearly they had misinformation then. I do apologise.
Well, no.
Down at Audi, they're saying that their race, maybe I just misunderstood, because it was a young German chap that I was having a word with, and maybe he was talking about the amount of stops that they're going to be forced to take for tyres and things like that, or that they're quicker at their stops when they need them.
Well, certainly their pit stops have been great, Liz.
Yeah, no, they have been amazing, but I mean that's something they would be working on all the time. I know that certainly in their workshop in America, they actually built their own pit wall inside the shop, and they have routine pit stop practice every week. I think multiple times a week actually. The mechanics and the staff are meant to stay on a strict health regime and stay very fit as well, so they would certainly be good at that. Here is the number 95 car. It's into the pits with definite front end damage. I think that throttle may have been stuck open.
It certainly looked at why the throttle was stuck open. Of course, we have no idea. Very strange looking incident, however. It sailed down into the sort of escape road at Indianapolis Corner. There's a couple of flat out kinks before that. In a prototype, you can almost carry the speed into that final sort of straight bit before the left-hander at Indianapolis. In a GT car, however, you're braking before that final kink. Is that right?
In a GT car, you'd probably be giving it a bit of a brake and then come off and turn into the right and then brake heavily. And where we saw him go on straight was where he would need to brake heavily and drop down at least 2 gears. So that's not really a nice place to be going straight on, and a very, very frightening experience to have the throttle stuck open as well.
He was able to bring the car back to the pits without any problem. I mean, yeah, I don't think Fisichella had been at the wheel of that car for very long, had he? Because we saw Lacey looking pretty tired getting out of the car. That was only, maybe 10 minutes ago at the very most. You know, it's always a problem when you've got different drivers in the car. Ideally, they would like different pedal setups within the footbox of these cars. They've only done a couple of races together this season in the Le Mans series. You never know whether he got his feet in the wrong place, basically. It's doable.
I suppose. I can't imagine Fisichella would be able to do something like that. You never know. You just don't know.
What's surprising is that he was able to bring it back without any further difficulties, apparent.
I mean, I've had a throttle stick open in a car I've driven before as well, and to the point where I had to shut the engine off in order to slow the vehicle down. But funnily enough, I was able to then get my foot under it and pull it back up, and I was able to get it back to the pits. So I think it depends on what's really happened there. We don't know. We're speculating. We're guessing. We wouldn't know until we actually ask the team, will we?
And we've talked about already all this rubber flying around. These little bits of rubber they can get everywhere in the race.
Absolutely.
It's amazing where they can get throttle linkages, whatever else they can get to.
What is amazing at the moment as well is Davidson's pace. He's just on a 3:21.6. He's been there or thereabouts, hovering around the 21 mark, just constantly, it seems, for about the last, certainly during his last stint. That number one car is really pushing very, very hard indeed. You saw the performance difference a little bit earlier on, where he just left Alan McNish for dead on one of the straights here, and he's clearly just constantly hitting that mark, particularly through the opening sector here. 31.8 is what he did last time by, and in every part of the racetrack here he's got a significant advantage, and he sits just 1 lap behind the leader. Don't forget, they can't make any mistakes, Audi, out there. And apologies for that, a little bit of information. I clearly got their range mixed up with what they were talking about, clearly about their tyres, but there you go.
Yeah, well, I don't know. They've certainly been varying through the race. Marcel Fessler is in second place now. He's only 14 seconds, the number 8 car, behind the race leader Romain Dumas. But I fancy that Marcel Fessler is due. Actually, I just looked out of the booth and I can see the pit crew down there for car number 8 are ready for that second place car on pit lane. Scheduled service here, and again, it's 12 laps since that car's most recent pit stop.
I just question if maybe Audi was thinking of hoping to save some fuel economy, because we did see their times drop off just a little bit. It wasn't a huge amount. It was a couple, 2-3 seconds here and there, sometimes 4. And I just wondered if maybe they were thinking they could be a bit sneaky and just save that little bit of fuel and maybe squeak a little bit more out of the car.
I'm wondering whether they were referring to the fact that they're pushing so hard on the number 1 car that they're going to essentially have to come in a little bit earlier. It's a big push going on at the moment. A 3:21.016 has just been set by Davidson as he roars across the line in front of us here. They really are on a charge. I just wonder how limiting that's going to be, Jeremy, if you are on a chase here, just how more regularly you're going to have to come in and make your stop.
Yeah, that's exactly right, because I think it's a lap and somewhere between 40 and 50 seconds. It's difficult to tell with our timing system here, but certainly certainly Anthony Davidson has not given up the chase. He's running in third place, just over a lap behind the leader. We're glad you're with us here on Eurosport. We'll be back with you momentarily.
Welcome back. We're just tracking around with second in class in GT2. It is the Ferrari, the Hankook shod Ferrari here. We were just discussing different compounds and how different conditions, various tyre manufacturers seem to have the advantage. Hankook will have been hoping just for a little bit of moisture in the morning, maybe a shower. We have been blessed with a dry race, but despite that, plenty of drama here. I know some of you out there absolutely love it when it bins down, just to sort of throw into the confusion. But we're expecting almost certainly to have some variable weather. We've had cloud. It's not exactly bright sunshine, although the sun did nudge out earlier on today. As we just hone in on the 64 Corvette, it's sadly all over their challenge at the moment. As they're almost directly opposite us, incidentally, in the pit box area along pit lane, and it's a real shame. Not of their making this issue at all. Collected as they were by the number one car in the hands of Anthony Davidson, and that is that for the 64 car.
Yeah, I think it caused some damage, some overheating there, and that caused terminal damage to the engine. The other car also went out with an engine failure. That was just an engine failure. Antonio Garcia was talking to him about an hour and a half ago, and he said the car was running absolutely perfectly, no warning whatsoever. All of a sudden, kaboom! And there's another car number 009, sixth place. Lola Aston Martin, Stuart.
Yeah, Juan Barrazzi in that car. That was the lead petrol car, and Baccarat is not far behind in the Audi, so Juan Barrazzi's got to get that going very, very quickly. That looks to me like it's at one of the chicanes. I might be mistaken, but the first chicane, and there's a bit of unburned fuel at the back of the exhaust.
It doesn't want to fire, does it? It doesn't want to fire up again.
Yeah, it doesn't want to fire, and you know that car's been running for the last 19 hours, and Juan Barrazzi just looks like he just loses it on the brakes.
Oh dearie me!
That's bizarre.
That is. Could that be the rear wheels seizing with an engine problem, or?
Let's hope not. You know, it looked like he kind of realised he was going too fast. Maybe he thought he was going to go into gravel, so he tried to abort and get to the escape road. Would that make sense in that situation?
It looked like he tried to bail out, didn't he?
It did look like he tried to bail out, but
he wouldn't want to get stuck in the gravel, of course.
He was already turned in as well. So normally if you're going to bail out, you bail out early and just go straight down the escape road through the tyres and carry on your merry way. But it looks like Juan Barrazzi's actually turned into the corner and then encountered either an abortive problem or has had a situation. See the Aston Martin guys looking on with long faces. So it's not an engine problem at all. That car's carrying on, and they'll probably see it come in the pits.
Yeah, you can see the consternation. Could you not down there in the pit lane? But the good news is Barrazzi has got that car going. It still has about a good lap and a half advantage over the number 15 car, the Christian Baccarat Audi R15 TDI, and about 5 laps over Frank Mayer in the 008 Signature, plus Lola Aston Martin. That is the second of the petrol engine cars.
Yes, it is. Saleen had its issues as well. Also a visit to the gravel trap, but still leads GT1 class. It's 21st position overall. May well actually break into the top 20, which would be a phenomenal farewell, I think, to this class. And I think as well, we alluded to it earlier, Saleen have been great supporters as well over the last 10 years. They weren't here last year, but they've been given the ticket for this time by. And it'd be wonderful to see a car that's been with us for such a long time to actually have some success right here. The Gulf boys are awaiting, and we saw some very, very red eyes a few moments ago with one of our art shots, courtesy of our directors here who are supplying us with the pictures. It's been a long old night, and I think Barrazzi as well is just feeling that as well. Maybe it's just a little bit of brain fade because the car looks okay. I think he did just bail, to be honest.
Yeah, a very strange way. You should, if you're going to bail early. Don't turn in and then drive into the get it wrong and drive into the gravel. It's best just to go straight on through the tyres and carry on. So But you know, you do strange things when you've been up for over 24 hours now, these guys have, and been racing for 19 of them. So mind does funny things.
Right, we're going to make a mark here on the lap, and we will get their range under the way that they are pushing at the moment. Davidson's on his marks, getting the clean-up job, getting refueled as we see. They're going to have to start stretching the tyres here. It's a difficult thing to do as well when you're on such a pace. Playing catch-up as they are to Audis in positions 1 and 2. If you went to bed last night and you've just had your breakfast and you're rejoining us, in the UK it's at 9 in the morning, just approaching that with 5 hours remaining here. The one car comes away here and we'll have a marker upon it, and it's suddenly got very, very busy down on pit road as the 37 car, the WR Zytek, comes into position. They've been great supporters of Le Mans for a long time as well. In the Milton Racing crew, they really do come with something rather bizarre on occasion. This year it looks reasonably standard. We've had some very weird looking machines over the years from the WR outfit. I know that they're difficult to find if you're looking for models, because I've got a little soft spot for them. Some of their projects have been a bit bizarre. We often refer to them as canoe projects, because they have to lift off the entire bodywork on occasion in order to get in there.
But they still do hold the record for the fastest speed on the Mulsanne straight, don't they? Which is a nice little feather in their cap.
Yeah, pre-chicane. They actually brought a car with virtually no downforce. It was having a great deal of trouble going, even getting out of the car park, I think. They had extra thin wheels as well. They just wanted that record, and it is theirs for keeps. Just seeing the 009 car arriving at its marks.
Yeah, Juan Brassi has got that car back. Doesn't seem to be any major issues. Probably just fuel and tyres and sending, but we're going to find out in a very short while.
Yeah, we saw the Peugeot of Anthony Davidson come in for that very quick routine stop. Here is the look at the overall classification. As you can see, 1 minute 23 seconds between the two Audis at the front of the field. Romain Dumas leads from Marcel Faisler, the two drivers at the wheel of number 9 and number 8 cars respectively. The Team Peugeot Total car, Anthony Davidson driving car number 1 after a couple of delays earlier in the night. Audi Team Joos in 4th place. That's Alan McNish doing the best he can. He's turning laps, all three Audis turning laps around about 3 minutes 24, 3 minutes 25. Marcel Faisler perhaps not quite matching the same pace set by Romain Dumas and Alan McNish. Farther down the order, there is a Labre competition car, 21st overall. The green signifies it's a GT1 car, the orange signifies it's a GT2 car. So it's a Labre Saline, kind of a 50 and 21st overall, leading in GT1, and in 16th place was Richard Leitz in the Porsche. And again, we've seen a fabulous battle in GT2, but that's kind of petered out. It's now Richard Leitz who holds about a lap and a half advantage over Alan Simonsen, who is driving the car number 89, that Hankook Tyres Porsche. That particular car, Simonsen shares it with Dominic Farnbacher and Lee Keen. And that particular car is the same car that Dominic Farnbacher drove in the American Le Mans Series a couple of years ago when it was in Tafel Racing colours, and Dominic won a couple of races with that particular car, and it's also had a lot of success this season already, Stuart Hall.
It has. It was on the podium in the Nürburgring, long night, Nürburgring 24 hours, with that same driving team, with Dominic Farnbacher, Alan Simonsen and Lee Keen, and now they're back here and they're in 2nd place, so it's going well for them. It's
been a beautiful run for that car. Sorry, Carlton. The car's run absolutely flawlessly. They've been running a sensible pace. I think they had a game plan coming into this race. They knew what sort of a pace they wanted to run. They thought they could run it comfortably, not overextend themselves or the car, and that is what it takes to win this motor race.
It does indeed, and I know that the Ginetta outfit and that 40 car have had their issues, but as well we had them up in and talking to us a little bit early on. We were enchanted by their comments, indeed, that this is an event now that they're kind of blanketing almost the entire range of motorsport, the Ginetta outfit. It's not the biggest outfit in the world, but you can start driving their cars at the age of, I think, 14, and you can actually come up and contest Le Mans as well if it becomes a brand favourite of yours. And don't forget, they're running 5th in class at the moment. Chalandon is on board the 41 car. The 40 machine is down in 30th place. As you can see, there are our class leaders. We just pulled away from the Porsche. Simonsen and Fisichella are chasing them down in that class. And incidentally, that record by WR on the Mulsanne straight, it was set. It was before the chicanes were put in, so that's the reason why it'll never be beaten. We'll take a break and be back in a moment.
Welcome back to Eurosport. My name is Jeremy Shaw. Alongside me is Carlton Kirby and Stuart Hall. We're watching here as the AF Corsa team work on the number 95 Ferrari F430 GT. That is the car with which Giancarlo Fisichella had a major problem at the Indianapolis corner about 25 minutes ago. He sailed straight on down the escape road with apparently the throttle fully on and the brakes certainly fully locked up. And Stuart, that was a very frightening moment, it must have been, for Giancarlo Fisichella. He's had some accidents during his career, of course, a massive amount of experience in Formula One, but coming here and having that sort of a crash there on a very narrow racetrack at a very far section of the track, scary stuff.
Absolutely, Jeremy. Welcome to Le Mans, Giancarlo Fisichella. Indianapolis corner is not for the faint-hearted, and it looks to us like he did have a bit of an issue going through there, and with the front brakes completely locked up and the rear wheel still driving. So it's very easy to speculate, as we've said earlier. We're not gonna, we don't know what happened, but I shouldn't think it was Giancarlo's fault anyway. And the AF Course guys are now rebuilding the front end of that car and probably hoping to get it out very quickly.
Got a few messages on our website, incidentally, eurosport.co.uk. Go to message boards, scroll down to Motorsports, then click on Le Mans, and the thread is new ! Eurosport 2010 Le Mans Live. Yes, loving the quick fix for Ferrari, says Samsonite. The straps and duct tape were used. You can always depend on them.
Yeah, there's a note on our screen, Carlton, at the moment, says car number 26, no front light. If both front headlights aren't working, then you have to come in and fix them, but looks absolutely fine to me, Stuart Hall.
It does, but Marino Franchitti going very slowly on the Mulsanne straight, and could this be another problem for the Highcroft team?
They've had three punctures, well, they had three punctures up until about 1 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, and don't know whether don't think they had any more through the early hours, but clearly a problem there for that 26 Highcroft Racing HPD.
They say as sailors shouldn't ever paint their boats green, and it seems that green vehicles here have had all kinds of problems today. We saw the 11 car. I'm actually looking to see if they're still plying their trade right at the back in 34th place. It had just about everything go wrong, unfortunately, in the Lola. Johnny Cocker is on board at the moment, and they are circulating, which is very, very good news. Yeah, that has been probably one of the busiest pit boxes, and likewise, it seems if you have a green car out there, the Ferrari as well, in its beautiful lime livery, also having its issues today. A big clean-up job going on the front screen here. Thankfully, at least one blessing of having some clouds around here is that you haven't got that flaring sunshine with all the debris, Stuart Hall, that gets kicked up, insects and that kind of thing at this time of year as well. It can be a pretty nasty looking through that kind of maze, if you like.
It is very, very difficult, especially when you've come through the night into the morning and you've got oil, you've got insects, the screen's probably been a bit pebble dashed from all the dust, and then to make matters worse, you've got the sun coming up as well. It is very, very difficult to see, and hats off to these guys with the closed cockpit prototypes and the GT cars.
There is a look at the LMP2 class leading car number 42, the Stracker Racing HPD. That's identical car to the second place car of Highcroft Racing. This is a British-based team based just down the road from Silverstone, and it is now at the wheel is Nick Leventis, the team owner of Stracker Racing, and he's now extended that lead to 4 laps over the Highcroft Racing car. And Marino Franchitti, we saw him a few moments ago limping around the track. We couldn't see any visible signs of why he was limping, but he's had to do that several times already during this race. This morning at around about 1 o'clock, he had a puncture just going through the Dunlop curves and had to crawl all the way around to the pit lane, over 8 miles, and he had to go at sort of maximum about 50k in order to make sure that he didn't cause any further damage from that rubber flailing around inside the wheel arch. And he did a really good job. The team was absolutely thrilled that he could get that car all the way back without causing any major damage. However, The bad news is now there doesn't really seem to be any indication it's a puncture this time. The car is, however, going very slowly.
It doesn't look good for the Highcroft car, but it is really playing into the hands of Nick Leventis. You know, that Stacker Racing car, touchwood, commentator's curse, but it's going round and round and round. And Nick Leventis is doing a fantastic job. He really has not got the experience of Danny Watts and Johnny Kane. You know, he's holding his own. That car's out front. It's got 2-3 laps over Marino Franchitti and then another 2 over Jan Charouz in the Pescarolo. So all those boys need to do now is keep out of trouble, keep going round, and they're gonna get a class win.
Yeah, and it has been the fastest car all week. They've had a fair amount of experience Tracker Racing with this low downforce setup on the HBD chassis. The Acura team, the Highcroft team at which we're looking now, the Malaria No More car, has been running in the American Le Mans series, where they run a very different aerodynamic configuration on generally much slower tracks than here at Le Mans. So this was their first attempt to get used to this aerodynamic package and develop the chassis setup around the aerodynamics of the car. It's hugely different, about 30% less downforce than they're used to, and that means you have to change everything else on the car: suspension, spring rates, dampers, everything on this car to adapt it to make sure it handles properly for the driver. We talked a few minutes ago about the Drayson Racing Lola Judd of Emmanuel Pirro, Johnny Cocker and Paul Drayson. That's the problem that they've been having this whole race. They ran here for the very first time in low downforce configuration, and they have not been able to get a balance on that chassis to cope with that different aerodynamic setup on the car, Stuart, and that's a crucial part of this event, of course, because this is really the only chance you get normally to run in this configuration.
You do, Jeremy, and it's such a unique circuit with such high speeds that you have to run the car in low downforce trim to get the maximum speed out of it. But then you arrive at the Porsche curves where you need all the downforce you can get. So it's a catch-22 situation, and it is more advantageous to run with a low downforce trim, but it does mean the car's very, very tricky to drive through the Porsche curves. You know, the car's very skinny on wings, which makes the car very, very twitchy front and rear, and it's much, much easier to make a mistake.
Yeah, these cars look so delicate at the back, don't they? In it goes. Second in class at the moment. The 42 car is leading LMP2. We've got a message on the site as well from Tim70. He says, if the Peugeot does indeed catch the Audis, you're not going to see the same kind of dogfight as we've seen in not only GT2, but of course LMP2 as well out there. Not quite as matched, thinks Tim70. Question is, Tim, will the Peugeots catch up? They're in and checking out the back end here, Stuart. Difficult to actually know what the issue is just for the time being.
It certainly looks more terminal than a puncher, doesn't it, Carlton? You know, the car in the pits now losing even more time to the Stracker Racing car of Nick Leventis. I just hope they fix that car and get it out quick, because then it would be great to see Acura 1, 2, 3.
The 009 is here and is the lead petrol, but he's looking like he's got a handful here, and had to, as you can see, just take evasive action there, Stuart.
Yeah, Juan Brazzi having another mishap in the 009 car.
He's not comfortable, is he?
No, is he a bit tired, or is there something amiss? But that car was running very, very quickly before him in the hands of Sam Hancock. So Juan needs to sort of calm down and start knocking off the laps, because he's got a lead over Christian Backer, but that's not going to be a big lead if he makes any more mistakes.
We've got Tony Vilander about to talk to us. We are down in the pits.
Tony, what are the guys doing, and how quick are they getting the car back on the track?
Hey, it's a shame there was a technical problem in the car. I don't know how, but Giancarlo managed to keep the control of the car and bring it back to the box. And as we can see, there's a lot of work. The guys are doing the maximum to get back on the track. We were fighting for second place, so podium was our target, and we were on the right road to do it. So it's a big disappointment, but obviously we want to finish the race. So.
But what happened to the car? Was it a technical failure, you said, or was it a driving mistake?
Yeah, technical failure. I don't want to go to details, but a technical failure on the car. And yeah, Giancarlo anyway did a good job to keep the car even in one piece.
Thank you very much.
Do you think that could possibly be a management issue?
No, I think well, I mean, it could be, but more likely a little bit of rubber got stuck somewhere where it shouldn't be, I would suggest, Stuart. I mean, there's rubber all over the place. We talked about it being thrown up from the cars. It gets stuck in the wheel wells. It gets stuck even inside the rim of the tyres, of the wheels, and it gets into all nooks and crannies, doesn't it? There's rubber in the cockpit, even in closed cars, and it certainly can get into the engine bay.
There's all sorts of speculation on what could have gone wrong, but what we do know is, according to Tony there, Giancarlo did a very good job to stop himself having a big old shunt. Now we see a Lacey back in the car when it restarts.
What we did see is that the car was actually being driven with the brakes locked up. The front wheels were absolutely locked, and it was still being powered along, which just defies explanation at the moment.
That's a bit of a scary situation to be in, really, and it's a good job that escape road was there with a small set of tyres, because if that had been an Armco, he certainly wouldn't have been able to get the car back to the garage.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a gap there to get stricken cars out of the way. There's a close. You can see there is the third car in line. At the front of the pack there is that Celine, which is back out in the track, back out onto the track, and still leading in GT1 after the spin that occurred around about an hour ago. As we see Jörg Müller there gurning for the camera. Thank you, Jörg. He'll take over in the fifth place car now in GT2, number 78, the BMW M3 GT. Those guys have worked hard. They've got all sorts of dramas during this race. I was just doing a little bit of mathematics to try and figure out what sort of chance Anthony Davidson has of catching the overall race leader. It's still Romain Dumas who leads in the Audi car number 9, followed by his teammate number 8, Marcel Faisler, at the wheel. The gap between those cars is around about 1 minute and 20 seconds or so. It's about the same gap as it's been for the last hour, despite a round of pit stops in the interim. Anthony Davidson is a bit more than a lap behind in third place, so probably about 5 minutes or so. He's lapping generally, although it's actually on this lap that he turned almost about exactly the same lap time as the leader, but he's generally lapping about 3 seconds a lap quicker. A problem, however, for the 8th place car.
Yes, unfortunately, it has ended up in the barriers here. Just for the time being, into the tyres, I should say. For the time being, we're not sure why that is the case. But the Signature Plus boys, just seeing who's on board. It's Pierre Ag at the moment as well, as we just head back down to the pits. We'll go back to that as soon as you get any movement in the vehicle. Just hoping they're all okay.
Yeah, no, the Harcroft Racing Acura is obviously they've fixed what they thought was a problem. They've put a fresh set of tyres back on Marino Franchitti, and he's going to head out there and once again resume battle, trying to hunt down Nick Leventis, as we see the Pierre Grags 008 Aston Martin, the Signature Plus car, in the barriers. I think it was the first chicane, and it was in the middle of the first chicane. It was quite a strange place to go off. So hopefully the director's going to cut to a replay. That'd be good to see what happened there. But hopefully they're gonna tow the car out of the barriers, and he can get that car back to the pits, because it really is having a good run.
Big shake with debris coming out of the back of the 75 car. He's clearly had a brief excursion as well. He's sending gravel all over the place at the moment. He saw the rear end twitching, and he dumped at least a shovelful down there. These cars do pick up an enormous amount of gravel, don't they, when they do go off? There was the shimmy, I think, but whether this is his... Yes, it is. There is his outing. Even a short excursion like that, Stuart, you see how much is actually being spat away here. Manages to keep it going, gets back on course, but look how much he's dragging on, and that's debris for the invitation for everyone else to come and play with.
And you can see his car moving that around as he goes down to the next corner. He's just trying to get rid of some of that gravel that gets stuck to the tyres. When you've got hot tyres, Stuart Hall, they pick up all sorts of debris, and you want to get that debris off the tyres, get the tyre back up to temperature again. When it's hot, it picks up anything, and when you go through gravel, it loses a lot of heat, and heat is grip very, very quickly.
Yeah, not only, Jeremy, does it lose heat, but the gravel here is very, very sharp. Yeah. We've seen in the practice and qualifying and during this race, there have been a lot of punches. So spreading that gravel all over a corner like Indianapolis, it's a very cambered corner. The cars are going fairly quickly through it, even if it's a tight left-hander, and that is puncher territory.
We're going to take ourselves a short commercial break. The Signature Plus car still waiting to be helped out here. It's embedded. We can't quite see what the damage at the front, if there is indeed any, but it looks like there may well be. A lot of discussion going on, plenty more to say. Back in a moment. Very warm welcome back. Dave Richards has just popped up, which is rather auspicious as we have troubles going on down on the track for some of the 00 machines, and we're not even sure whether it's actually Juan Barazzi that's on board the Signature Plus car. Very warm welcome to you, by the way.
Hi. Well, it's certainly not Juan, because he's driving one of our cars, the 009 car. But it's we're not sure if it's Pierre Rogue or his co-driver, because I think there was something wrong with the transponder in the car to give the right driver.
So yes, we're thinking it's actually stating that it's Raag, I beg your pardon, but in the 008, the Signature Plus machine. But for the time being, we're not quite sure whether it is. Apart from that, you've had the usual mixed fortunes out here, but you find yourself in 6th place with the 009 machine with Barazzi, which is correct. And yeah, it's when we spoke to you earlier on this week, you actually said your intention first and foremost was to take the petrol class.
Correct.
And you're in the position to do just that.
Yeah, but you know, how many hours have we still got left? 4.5 hours. It's and you know, the sting's always in the tail in these 24-hour races, and you're starting to see it's been so much going on in the last couple of hours. It's just been non-stop. And gearbox problem for our 007 car, which was very unfortunate. The lads did a great job. Took the gearbox out, replaced the parts, put it back in again, but the best they can do is sort of just hope for the demise of some people in front of them now.
David, that car, the 007 car, been running absolutely beautifully.
Yeah.
All three drivers, Adrian Fernandez, Stefan Muka and Harold Primat, really doing an expert job. I mean, they had no problems whatsoever, did they, until they had that gearbox issue?
No, it's running absolutely smoothly. They saw the temperature rise on the monitors. You know, they sort of scan all the temperatures, and they watched the temperature rise, and they called it very quickly, and they saved the gearbox. Otherwise, if they left it out a little bit longer, it would have been just blown itself up.
So effectively a precautionary pit stop. You didn't actually lose a gear or anything?
No. It's a bearing. A bearing went in the gearbox on one of the bevel gears on the gearbox. A very high load bearing, and the temperature rose, and they spotted it, brought it in. But that meant taking the whole gearbox out and stripping it.
They've been running a very respectable pace, haven't they? You've got to be thrilled with the way the cars have been running.
No, they've run a very good job. I mean, it's where we expected them to be. Clearly the Audis and the Peugeots in particular, are a lot quicker than us, and the diesel advantage this year has been more so than any other year, I think, quite frankly, and that's disappointing in many respects. But I think now that the organisers have really realised just that it can't carry on like this. They have to do something about it. They can see the car coming out of the tyre wall now. I don't know if that's going to go anywhere.
It doesn't look too clever. You've had a chance, though, David, to have a look through, perhaps you haven't, the regulations.
Yeah.
How happy or dissatisfied are you with what's in prospect?
Well, we've been looking at the regulations for a little while. It's nothing new news. You know, there's some aspects of it which were announced on Thursday that are slightly different, but you know, I would really like to come back next year with a brand new car to the new regulations and slug it out with Audis and Peugeots on a level playing field. And that's our goal. We're not shying away from the competition in any way, but at the same time, it has got to be a level playing field, and every year we come back under the promise that it will be. And unfortunately, the diesel technology, to be fair to the ACO, the diesel technology moves on at a rate that nobody quite anticipates, and they don't put the peg in the ground far enough ahead.
That's reflected in the lap times that they're achieving here.
It's just colossal.
Yeah.
Just colossal.
Trying to dial out, at least give a little bit more level playing field with air restrictors and what have you, but it just seems to get quicker and quicker each year.
Yeah.
Now, you bring an awful lot to the table here as far as Le Mans is concerned. It is a huge investment. I know you're going to be taking an awful lot back in-house as well, which has given your commitment. So just how much wiggle room and negotiating clout does that give you for people who don't know?
Well, it's not about negotiating clout. It's about the intent of the organisers to... Signature's coming back in. It looks like they might be able to recover this car. So anyway, the organisers have made it clear. Why would you run a race that was sort of favoured one party, not the other? What do the spectators come all the way here to watch? What does everyone watch on Eurosport to see? They want to see a great race between equal competitors. And you know, I'm not saying we'll have equal resources to an Audi or a Peugeot for that matter, but you know, we punch above our weight, and I want to be given that opportunity.
And what would be your idea? You would build a car in-house here. You've had this collaboration with Lola, of course, with this particular car now. It's been around for a couple of years or so. What would be the plan, though, for next year?
We would design our own car and our own engine.
Great. It's a very exciting prospect.
And I think, but as I say, it's got to be such that we think we can win, and the decision has to be made in the next weeks. Otherwise, I guess we'll move to GT2 and go back to GT racing again.
I mean, you've had a sort of draft of the regulations for a while now, so you've been able to give it some thought. I mean, what is the lead time to develop a brand new car? It's got to be at least a year.
We've done a lot of development already. We've got a design on paper, and we've got the engine design as well.
And so the rules that you were thrown last week weren't thrown too much for granted. Let's go down to the pit lane and Sebastian Tiffert.
Marco Werner, the car's in the box. What happened? What's the problem?
Yeah, everybody is down in the moment in the Team Highcroft. Looks like as well the engine. Looks like that we have a water leak somewhere, so we have too much air pressure in our water system from the engine. And we will see what happened, what we can do, or if we can do something to finish the race.
But so you're not very optimistic that the car can leave the garage again?
Leave it again, but the question is if we can finish the race. Looks not good.
Thank you very much.
It doesn't look good. You've got to ride your fortune here. We've just seen the Signature Plus car making its way back. Haven't quite caught sight of it just for the time being, but we'll get back to that as soon as we possibly can. Misfortunes here. It's always a huge story with many chapters to tell, David. What have been the highlights for you, whether it's from your own team or not?
I think the highlights actually are sort of just watching the crowd and the support we have out here, win or lose. They're there in the sort of rain, in the sort of middle of the night, cheering, waving the Aston Martin flags, and that's for us, that sort of motivates the team, and it makes it all worthwhile coming here.
There certainly is a gaggle of fans outside of your installed area in the pit lane. Keeping them at bay must be an issue, I think, on occasion.
Oh, it's, that's part of the game, and no, we just enjoy having them there, and it's great to see the support we enjoy, and long may it continue.
Certainly 5-car digging itself in good and proper on a number of occasions here, and as it does so, it's constantly, it seems, just bringing an awful lot of gravel to the party here for others to enjoy. It has been stuck, but it is back on here. It's looking a bit shaky.
David, can you update us also on the GT1 car? We saw Thomas saying that they had a drive shaft failure early evening yesterday.
Yeah,
wasn't
that's
it?
right. Quite early on in the race, they had a drive shaft failure, and they've been making their way back from that. They're about 6 laps down at the moment on the Celine, but they're lapping it about 15 seconds a lap faster at the moment. I don't think without some further problems for the Celine that's going to be possible to catch, but the Celine did go off the road earlier, and who knows.
Yeah, it just takes one more off for the Celine, who might get itself back into contention. They lost about a couple of laps only with their last indiscretion, but there's been great battles in all of the classes, and GT1. Your thoughts on GT1 not coming back here to Le Mans?
I think it's the right decision. Most of the cars now are sort of getting quite old, and the GT2 rules are very competitive. You've seen some great racing on GT2. It's been a fantastic class, and we've got a team out there with GMW, and we would work a lot harder with them now and sort of develop that car, and I think you're going to see a lot more Astons in that category in the future.
Yeah, you've already announced a new technical partnership with another team to come into this series next season.
Correct.
Just saw evasive action being taken there by the number 1 Peugeot. A little bit of debris, I think, left behind by the Signature Plus car. And look at this, in the middle of the course here, and that is a very handy piece of work. The marshals that we have here have been absolutely outstanding. The safety features that are built into this circuit. You see the paramedics arriving in an instant, it seems. You couldn't be better taken care of than right here, could you, Dave?
No, the enthusiasm of everybody here, the officials, and the welcome we get to the town as well. Anyone who hasn't been here, go to the parade on a Friday night. It's just something special.
It is wild, isn't it? I went down for the start of the race to watch it down from the S's, and I mean, I could barely get a glimpse of the track down there. There are so many people. Every vantage point is taken. It's tremendous atmosphere.
But a lot of Brits over here as well.
Huge. It's tremendous fun.
So just to remind you, throughout the day and throughout this race, of course, we're staying with the action. That did not look good at all. That was their water problem that they were talking about a little bit earlier on. We're going to be transferring to Eurosport 2. If you ever do lose pictures of Le Mans, just go fishing around with your remote control, because we will be bouncing from one channel to the next, just to keep a handle on the other sports here. Keeping a hand on the steering wheel right now and doing a terrific job with the 008 machine. Bring it back. Still not sure who's on. Sorry, you do know, of course.
Well, no, we don't actually, because it says that it's Pierre Roux, but I'm not certain the transponder's right. It could be one of the other drivers.
All right, well, we'll check it out when he gets out, but we're going to have to take our leave from Eurosport International. I think British may well be staying the same, but if not, then check out Eurosport 2, as we're bouncing all over the place, but we are staying with it live. Our thanks to Dave Richards. Always a pleasure, and great to see, and the best of luck and fortune, which everyone needs here.
Welcome back to Le Mans. I'm Stuart Hall, joined with Jeremy Shaw and Carlton Kirby. At the moment we see the number 008 signature Aston Martin in the pits with front end damage. It looks quite a lot of damage. It went off at the first chicane, the middle part of the first chicane, and it looks like there's not only bodywork damage but front right suspension damage as well. So I think the car's going to be in the pits for some time. It was having a very, very good run in 8th place at the time, so let's hope they can get that car repaired and out as quickly as possible.
And it's been a good 6 or 7 minutes, Stuart Hall, since that car went off at that first chicane. We never did see a replay of the accident, but it was heavily buried into the tyre wall there. Pierre Rag, we believe, was at the wheel of the car, although it's now shown as Benina Ixodatli made the driver change already, but perhaps they had. But he or she was able to limp that car back to the pit lane. There is, however, as you say, quite extensive damage. The good news is they've still got a gap of about 2 laps and a bit more over Andy Merrick, who's the next place car in the overall classification, car number 6. That's the Orica AIM, which is the open-top sports car of the Orica Matwood team, and they are running 9th place. Let's back to the scene at the front of the field. It's Romain Dumas who leads now in the car number 9, the Audi R15 Plus, the vastly reworked car from a very unsuccessful debut with the R15 concept last year. That car is running out in front of the field by around about 34 seconds over Marcel Fessler in car number 8. Anthony Davidson is just over a lap behind in the sole remaining factory Peugeot, and he's closing as a general average at around about 3 seconds a lap. Last time around for Anthony Davidson, another stunningly quick lap, 3 minutes 20.6. I've just been trying to do some calculations. If Anthony Davidson is able to gain on the race leader an average of 3 seconds a lap, generally the cars are doing around about 17 laps to an hour, so that would mean he would gain about 50 seconds per hour on the race leader. If he was able to maintain that margin without any other delays to the end of the race, it might actually be quite close. Mark Cole is with us, and Mark, it's a fascinating prospect, I think, for us. We've had a topsy-turvy race. We saw the Peugeots completely in control through all the opening stages and really through the night as well. All of a sudden, it's been handed to Audi with the various difficulties, and now, can that sole remaining factory Peugeot, the number 1 car, Anthony Davidson at the wheel, he'll share it with Mark Genet and Alex Wirtz. Can they make up that deficit? They have to push absolutely flat out the whole way.
Yeah, a couple of hours ago we were trying to work this out, and of course the gap then was 2 laps. Anthony's brought that down at the moment. We believe he did the fastest lap of the race a little earlier, a 3:19.5, actually quicker than Montana's lap, and we haven't got a confirmation of that at the moment, but we've been keeping a sort of fairly loose record of that. So Anthony has, as far as we know, been the fastest man here at Le Mans this year. He can do it, of course he can. It's
very close. In fact, he's got to maintain at least a 3 second advantage all the way through the end of the race. I reckon it's very close.
But of course the advantage Audi has is Audi have got solid cars. Oh, and he's off. He's just gone off. Oh dear, oh dear. That's coming into the Ford chicane, and not good. Was he coming into the pits anyway?
Yeah, Ant was coming into the pits there and just got it. Just when there's a little sort of chicane as you come into the pits, just as you slow the car down. And it just like he went into the right far too quickly, which when he understeered out onto the curb, he launched himself over the curb, which almost launched him back onto the track. So we could have had a Frank Bieler situation where he missed the pit lane, and he'd have had to go around and do another lap, and therefore he could have run out of fuel, but that hasn't happened. He managed to get it back into the pit lane, and he's handing over now to Alexander Wirtz.
This is the 27th stop for that Peugeot. Fassler's had 27 stops. Dumas has had only 26. So we'll expect him to make one soon. Alan McNish, 27 as well. So they're very much all on the same thing. But my goodness, Stuart, you don't want to do this to a car this late in the race, do you? That's how you break cars, coming down heavily on those curbs.
Well, as we saw in qualifying, at a much higher speed, Sebastian Bourdais went off at Tete Rouge, launched the car up into the air. It landed very heavily, and as Jeremy pointed out last night, that could have contributed to the tub suspension damage that forced that car out of the race. And we see Juan Barazzi again having a spin in that 009 Aston Martin. Christian Backrud must be rubbing his hands together. There he is, there in shot now, but I think he may now be on the same lap as Juan Barazzi, so game on for the Audi R10 catching the Aston Martin 009.
That's the 6th place car, and of course it's a very easy place to do that. You either go straight on into the wall or you boot it too early and the back steps out down here at Arnage.
And that is the second spin in this stint for Juan Barazzi, so that's exactly what that 009 team doesn't need. The car's been running flawlessly, as we heard David Richards on ProDrive tell us not too long ago, but boy, that's a scary spot. Marshalled out in the middle of the racetrack, which sounds strict. What the heck's that guy doing on the apex of the corner? That, to me, is absolutely ridiculous, quite frankly, but these guys know what they're doing. They've done a fabulous job through the rest of the race. They've got the car running again, and no harm, no foul. Away goes that car. That pit stop by Anthony Davidson, it didn't look like it was a scheduled pit stop, didn't it? He seemed to be in the pit lane when he had that incident. Here again is a replay of these guys. That's a bit frightening for me.
That is very dangerous.
Well, for anybody, quite frankly, I think. But the odd thing is, he'd only done 11 laps on that stint, and generally they've been running at least 12 and generally 13 in that car number 1. So whether it was a late decision to come on the pit lane, I don't know. It'd be interesting to find that one out.
Yeah, what's the news, by the way, on the Franchitti car? It's still sitting in the pits. I didn't hear what the
engine problem of some sort.
Engine problem still there, but that's amazing, isn't it? Suddenly, Straka, it's all come back to them. Even with their slower driver, Nick Leventis, the gentleman driver, that's just come into their hands. 7-lap lead at the moment, Stuart. But you mustn't back off at all, must you? You've got to keep pushing, because the moment you stop pushing, you lose your concentration.
No, you really can't stop pushing, as we saw Vanina X, a really long face there. It suggests it wasn't Pierre Ragg. Apologies to Pierre Ragg. It wasn't Pierre Ragg in the car. I think it may have been Vanina X, as David Richards said. But Aston Martin wheeling out Darren Turner. Juan Barazzi's obviously that was his in lap, and Backrud's getting very close, so they're going to roll out the ace card.
Yeah, if it wasn't planned to be his in lap, it certainly is now. He's going to bring that car and hand it over to Darren Turner.
Now you've had David Richards up this morning. I've just been with Martin Brain for 5 minutes having a chat about everything. Very happy with progress. We had him on the programme last night telling us that they have got plans for next year. He won't tell us what the plans are, but obviously well advanced the plans for the new Lolas for LMP1 next year as these cars become grandfathered. But I think he's very pleased quietly that they are leading petrol again.
Yes, and it's a Lola for who you wanted to be a Lola. It's an Aston Martin for who you wanted to be an Aston Martin. Technically, it's a Lola Aston Martin, but whatever. I'd like to think it's British, and we're lead petrol car, and that's fantastic.
And the British car, of course, way up there towards the front. Well, British crude car, Anthony Davidson, still pushing so hard. Well, he was pushing so hard. Where's that car gone at the moment? The Alexander Wirtz still in 3rd place in that car. Just had that handover, as we saw, and Alex will probably do, a double stint now?
I think so, double or even a triple, depending on how aggressive they're going to go to try and catch these two Audis.
Yeah, 4 hours and 18 minutes left of this race, and what an extraordinary race it's been. There hasn't been a moment, well, I've been on air, certainly, probably 10 hours on air, where we haven't had something going on every 5 minutes.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I was down in the garage area about an hour or so ago, and just going, wherever I went to one garage, something else had happened somewhere else. I was planning on only spending about 20 minutes over there before I came back up here, but there was so much going on, I tried to find out at least what was going on in most of the garages. It was wild, to be perfectly honest. But I'm still wondering about that pit stop of that number 1 car. It's certainly the first time that I can remember that car has only done 11 laps on one stint, and okay, he's been going very, very quickly, but I think even so he should have been able to do at least 12. To me, that pit stop was at least one lap earlier than they had originally anticipated.
Well, it's just possible that Anthony's going towards his hours. You know, he's been in the car for a long time, not all at one time, but certainly we came on about 7:15 this morning. He was just getting in the car then, and it's now what 10:40, so
3.5 hours.
It is possible, Mark, as we see the BMW going very slowly. This is not what we want to see. Those guys have been doing a fantastic job. They've had a lot thrown at them in the last sort of 21 hours, and you know, this is not good. The team deserve a good finish.
Yeah, they actually got themselves up to 21st place. You're Muller at the wheel here behind the Porsches and the Ferraris. Okay, it's a tryout this year. We know that. It's we've had this discussion before the thread that is it a touring car, is it a GT car? The answer from BMW is a touring car has 4 doors. This only has 2 doors.
I think it is a GT car. It's their first year at Le Mans. You know, you can't expect to come with that car the first year with that car, and especially with the amendments they've had to make to the rear suspension and everything in the last few months, and just blow everyone away. I think they've done a fantastic job so far, and of course, I think they'll be back very, very strongly indeed.
Yeah, of course. What's hanging over them is the fact they've come straight here from Nürburgring 24 hours, where they blitzed it, won it outright, and so I think much more was expected of them.
Yeah, they didn't blitz it, did they? Because they took over the lead of the race in the last few hours when the hybrid, that fascinating hybrid Porsche failed, and then of course the gearbox in that BMW that was struggling towards the end. They were down the gear, and so they were kind of limping home to the end. But it was a wonderful success for them. I mean, they barely even dreamed of winning that race, I think, when they went into it, but they came away with, as you say, a magnificent success. And I think as a result of that success, they kind of knocked themselves on the head a bit, because the organisers of the Le Mans series said, yeah, we reckon that car's going a bit quickly. They had put on a slightly smaller air restricted the amount of air that goes into the engine by 0.6 of a millimetre, which doesn't sound very much, but Dr. Mario Tyson reckons that cost him probably about 10 horsepower. And 10 horsepower at this level, it might be 450 horsepower or so, but still it's a significant difference, particularly when you come to a place which is all about horsepower and straight line speed.
You just mentioned in that, Jeremy, about the Porsche hybrid, the car that was leading it at Nürburgring. We had Dr. Daniel Alderson up last night from Porsche Motorsport. He's the guy responsible for the hybrid program. They use the Williams input for the hybrid flywheel, sort of KERS systems, etc. We asked him the question. The new rules allow you to transfer this hybrid power through a second axle if you want, and he said yes, we are not ruling out four-wheel drive if we come back to Le Mans next year.
But the new rules for next year, they only allow, do they not,
you can only use the hybrid power
on 2 wheels, on one axle.
On one axle. So what they do, you've got your normal back axle on the Porsche. They would utilise the front axle for the hybrid boost they get.
Fascinating, isn't it? Yeah. I love that sort of technology. That's a great thing, I think, about Le Mans Series racing, both in Europe and the American Le Mans Series in the States. It's all about technology and advancement technology, and particularly kind of greener technologies or advanced technologies, which is somewhat lacking now in many other forms of motorsports.
Well, we have seen in the American Le Mans Series the Zytek hybrid with Johnny Molam, who's been up in the box quite a lot during this race, and that's had some good results. So that's certainly, and we've seen in F1 that technology is available, and we're sure to see it really doing well in sports cars soon.
So your mother's still crawling around the circuit out of your sight at the moment as we watch the number 9 car, yes, that's the lead car. Romain Dumas, that distinctive white helmet of his. Andre Lotter in second place, and Alex Wirtz for Peugeot third, Alan McNish fourth. And again, this maybe what we're seeing, Jeremy, is the change of the old order now. All these young drivers, particularly in the lead car, three Porsche heroes coming in, drafted in by Audi, and they've really carried the race for Audi.
Yeah, the Porsche, Audi, VW all getting together here. Mike Rockefeller, he's 26 years old. Timo Bernhard's 29. Romain Dumas at the wheel right now. He's the oldest of the bunch at 32, the Frenchman in this team. And the lead now over that second place car of Andre Lotter is up to almost exactly exactly 2 minutes. And about, an hour and a half ago, the gap between them was about a minute and 20 seconds. So he's pulled out about 30 seconds over the last hour and a half. Meanwhile, Alex Wurz is still running hard there in third place, but at the moment, not going much quicker than the Audis. We're going to be back with you in a few moments here on Eurosport. We'll see the BMW number 78 being pushed away into the garage. Stay with us. Jeremy Shaw with Mark Cole and Stuart Hall. Welcome back to Eurosport. Jeremy Shaw with Stuart Hall, and Chris Parsons has joined us again in the booth here above the main straight and overlooking the pit lane at the Circuit de la Sarthe for the 78th running of this endurance classic, the 24 Hours at Le Mans. We're watching Romain Dumas, the race leader. Last time around, 3 minutes 25.4 in the Audi R15 Plus. He's got a lead of about 2 minutes over his teammate Andre Lotterer in third place. The sole surviving factory Peugeot, Alex Wurz at the wheel of car number 1, and Chris Parsons. We've seen this race ebb and flow all the way through happening. We're almost 20 hours into the race. Initially it looked like a Peugeot route, now it's an Audi 1-2, and we've seen everything in between as well.
But isn't that all about sports car racing, endurance racing? We were talking at 2 o'clock this morning about how quiet it was. We knew there would be an explosion of interest as soon as the light started, as the light came up. Why it is when the light comes up, we don't know. They're lapping just as fast at 2 o'clock in the morning as they are at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. But you go through these phases in every endurance race. When it goes a little bit quiet, you know it won't be long, and just around the corner there will always be interest. And it's just here we are, Jeremy. You know, it's one of those races.
It's wonderful, isn't it? That's why we love this sort of racing, and that's why at least a couple 100,000 people are here to watch this race as well. You see a few of them there out amongst the trees. There's all sorts of vantage points. It's a great track here. There's a wide variety of places to watch from. There's the dead car park, not so good. Those guys all out of the race, and several cars out on the track as well. We've seen all sorts of dramas, but you know, I don't think the final drama is over. I went away about 3 o'clock last night. I left, and I came back about 7:15, I think, or thereabouts, and not much had changed. And then just about the moment I walked into the racetrack, Frank Montagni's engine blew. His car number 2, the Peugeot, had been leading the race very comfortably. That engine blew. Moments before that, the engine in the number 63 GT2 class leading Corvette of Antonio Garcia, that blew up as well. Since then we've seen dramas in GT1. We had the Celine S7R, the car number 50 Labre competition car, that's running as a result of attrition. That's taken over the lead of the class. That was off the road as well with a spin. Stuart Hall, we just don't know which way to look.
It certainly is all kicking off, isn't it, Jeremy? We just had a shot a little while ago of the sole remaining BMW in the race in the garage. We saw that going slowly on the track about 5-6 minutes ago. It looked to me that they were changing the drive shaft. It looked like they were, the mechanics had a new drive shaft in hand, and that's what they were putting into the to the back of the car. So that's probably the reason why it was going a little bit slowly.
Yeah, good point. And here is a look at Alex Wurz now has taken the wheel of car number 1. Anthony Davidson did a fantastic triple stint in that car. He was in the car for, we reckon, probably over 3 hours, and was able to make up a lot of ground on the 2 Audis ahead of him. Since then, Alex Wurz, well, that lap around was a 3 minutes 21.4, which I'm fairly sure is the fastest lap he's turned since he got behind the wheel of that car, which was on lap 3:18. So he's done now 8 laps in this stint, Alex, and he seemed to be struggling a little bit. Maybe it was just traffic, whatever. He certainly hasn't made up as much ground on the Audis as the car was doing about an hour or so ago.
No, we've had our calculators out. The old pens have been sharpened. It's looking very close, but it really is going to be a close run thing. And as you say, Jeremy, the harder they push, the more often they have to stop.
And lately, the margin between the Peugeot and the Audis has not been large enough, I don't believe, to make up that deficit, which now is well over a lap from car number 9, leading the race, to car number 1 in third place. Meanwhile, the fastest car on the track at the moment is Loic Duval in the number 4 Orica Matmut Peugeot. He's only about a minute and minute and change behind Alan McNish in the battle for 4th and 5th. And another guy who is charging at the moment is Darren Turner. We saw Joan Barazzi make a couple of spins during his last stint over an hour or so at the wheel of car number 009, the first of the petrol engine car, the Lola Aston Martin. He's handed over to Darren Turner, and Darren has put the foot down.
He certainly have. He'll have been given the instructions by the AMR crew to go out there and do what he does best, because Juan had a number of little issues in that car, and that has allowed Christian Backerud in the number 15 Collers Audi to catch up. But now Darren's out in the car. He's that lap he was 10 seconds quicker than Backerud, so he really is flying right now. It's just turned the quickest lap that car has done all race, which is a 3-minute 25.4. So Darren driving well.
Looking at Alain Romain Dumas's last lap, that's a 29, which really is giving away quite a lot to Alexander Wirtz, who turned in a 21. So 8 seconds that lap. You don't want too many more laps like that, do you, Stuart?
No, you don't, Chris. That's great. We're seeing now. Is that Roman? This might be why he's done a 29, if that is Roman, because yeah, that is Romain Dumas getting stuck behind the Stacker Racing car of Nick Leventis, and it actually looked like they could have had a little bit of contact. From the angle, from our angle, it looked as much, but you know, with these camera angles, they can be very, very deceiving.
As we know, earlier in the race there was a lot of controversy about the safety car and where the 3 safety cars and the time that cost the Audi team. So it could easily sway another safety car period or a couple of safety car periods, and a bad call, and it could all come down very quickly indeed.
Yes, it's definitely, there is all to play for. It's still very, very tight. There's still over 4 hours to go.